Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast. Myself, Sammy, with my cousin, Christopher.
Hey now,
don't dream it. Anyways, ain't not editing that part out. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this Montreal Canadiens podcast with your Habs friends all over the world. It's exciting times right now. We all know why. We're going to get into it. But if you do like and subscribe, and please share this, it is the only way we can feel the love. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other podcast platform out there, thank you once again. Leave us an honest rating and review. Like I said, it's the only way we can feel the love and get better at what we're doing. This Curfew Boys podcast is sponsored by Habs Cave. A big shout out to our boy Sunil at the Habs Cave. Probably every man's dream of having a man cave like the Habs Cave. Nothing but just Montreal Canadiens memorabilia all over the wall. There's absolutely no gyprock left. The Sunil is an awesome guy who supports the Montreal Canadiens community, is an active member in just the community of Montreal as well. Absolutely great guy. Give him a follow, Habs Cave on Instagram. And last but not least, Mike's Barbecue Rub. My buddy Mike back in RDP has his own company called Mike's Barbecue Rub. Creates, his own barbecue rub for things like fish, meat, vegetables. It is barbecue season. Finally, it's getting nice here in Montreal. And he's probably the only company out there that uses those same barbecue spices for his kettle chips, which are absolutely amazing. So give Mike's Barbecue Rub a follow on Instagram. You can visit mikesbarbecuerub.com for more information and for more details on his products. Last but not least, folks, don't forget to rub your meat. Sure. Speaking of rubbing meat, Habs fans all over the world are extremely happy.
It was coming. Let's be honest here. It was coming.
Was there a little part of you that was worried that he might not have won the Calder Trophy?
Not even a second.
Okay.
Because, you know what? And I think it's a fair statement, had Macklin Celebrini been healthy and not missed the games that he missed,
mm-hmm.
I think it would have been a little bit closer. I think there would have been maybe a few more questions. But again, a defenseman who was, up there with like records set by Bobby Orr and, first number one in Canadiens history in terms of rookie points by a defenseman.
Yep.
There were so many NHL and team records that this kid broke, that Lane Hutson broke. Especially putting up that many points in a rookie season on defense is just mind-bogglingly good. And all respect to Macklin Celebrini. I think he was and maybe even Dustin Wolf, which that was exactly how it played out. But nevertheless, Wolf didn't make the playoffs, and Celebrini wasn't there to put up even more points. So I think it just was automatic. That's why it was so automatic for me.
So Lane Hutson winning the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year in the NHL. I don't know if you see here.
I was just about to say.
But on the couch, I purposely put the book called The Game, written by
Calder winner. Our one and only previous Calder winner from 1972. The man, Ken Dryden himself. I saw it right there. I go,
that's why I put it
for today's episode. Absolutely.
I 1000% placed the book, The Game, written by Ken Dryden. I have two other of his books. I have the book Scotty, and I have which the other one called the series about the Summit series, right? But I had to put this one because it's a clear picture of just Ken Dryden. I know it's small, viewers, you can't see this. Those listening audio versions, well, I'm sorry. You look up The Game if you don't know which book that is. Since 1972.
Incredible.
Montreal Canadiens have not had a Calder Trophy winner. We've had Michael Ryder nominated, and then I completely forgot that Brendan Gallagher got nominated in his rookie season. But my goodness, you just do the calculations. 2025 minus 1971. What does that give you? 72, excuse me. What does that give you? 53
Was it-
years?
Yep. Something.
1972. 53
Yep.
years. Like my and it's so well deserved, and I know part of me was a little worried. I don't know why. But then you look at the Calder Trophy voting, like the point
Incredible.
system. It's not even close. We're gonna post a picture of it. Not even close. Lane Hutson, 165 votes for first place, 26 votes for second. At number two, this one I was very surprised. At number two, Dustin Wolf with 15 votes for first place and then 96 votes as second. I really thought Macklin Celebrini was going to take the I thought he was going to be the runner up, second place. No disrespect to Dustin Wolf, like those three guys deserve to be there. Dustin Wolf and Macklin Celebrini, absolutely. I didn't think Macklin Celebrini was going to get less votes for first place than Dustin Wolf, mind you, only at 11 votes and 106 votes for third place. This one makes me laugh the most, and it's not a shot at the player, but it's a shot at their fans, at the fan base of the Philadelphia Flyers. Matvey Mishkov, 0 votes for first place amongst the rookies. And again, once again, I say this: it's not a shot at Matvey Mishkov; it's more a shot at Philadelphia Flyers fans because they truly believe Lane Hutson would not win this at all, let alone be a nominee. So this is what's gonna lead me to say I'm I'm beyond happy for Lane Hutson and his family, not so much because he proved doubters wrong, but it's more like he proved himself, his supporters, his group, family, friends, what have you, and he proved us Habs fans right. Okay, I could go on and say, like, to all the naysayers that are like he's too small for a defenseman. His game won't transition in the NHL compared to how he was able to what he was able to do in college. He won't be able to. He's gonna get destroyed. It's gonna be this, that. Like, we could look at it that way, but I'm looking at it the positive way. It's like we looked at highlight after highlight after highlight with him in Boston University, playing with Macklin Celebrini last season, and even Habs prospect Luke Tuck. Highlight after highlight, play after play. It's just, and then you actually watch some games. There's some websites that allow you to stream the games online, and you watch these games, and you're like, my goodness, like how the heck is he even doing this? His shimmy moves and all that, and then like then he does all the records in college hockey. Just to like name a few, I have them here, like Hockey East Tournament MVP, Hockey East Rookie of the Year, Hockey East First Team All-Star Game, highest scoring U19 defenseman in NCAA hockey since Brian Leach. You know, I mean, 16 multi-point games. The only defenseman about Hobie Baker that's a top 10 finalist. Only defenseman. Scored 2 goals, including the overtime win in the Hockey East title game, which I remember watching live. It had to be him. Just to name a few. We're going to post this picture up as well. Just to name a few. So you look at all of that. What he did was he took his game at the college level, all the moves, the vision, the speed, what you have, and he just brought it up to another level, to the NHL level, to the pros. And my goodness, like, it's scary to think that he's only getting started. There's no way he goes a step back from this.
Well, that's such a great set of points. I mean, there's a million and one things that I could react to that alone, but the most reassuring thing, and we've named it off. I've personally said it in previous episodes. He seems like a guy who's just, again, so focused on his development and what's the next
Mm-hmm.
step and getting back
Mm-hmm.
to training. And, you know, it's not a surprise when somebody dedicates themselves as such. Obviously, there's some talent. That talent has been developed by himself, with the help of his coaches and
Yep.
fellow players, and teammates. But just to say, like, I think this kid, we're only scratching the surface on what he's going to continue to bring. He's still a small guy. He's gonna bulk up, but he brought such a dynamic element to the Montreal Canadiens in the offensive zone as a D man
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think we've ever seen. And I think we really have to go over the clip that was said by one of the Montreal Canadiens scouts that was saying
You're
every
Eric
contending
Crawford.
every
Eric Crawford. Yeah, we posted a video of that. Yeah, on
yeah
Instagram.
every contending team has a player like Lane Hutson with that
Mm-hmm.
mobility, with that vision on the back end. And I just, like I said, I think this Calder Trophy, huge honor. Like we said, first time in
Yep.
53 years for the Montreal Canadiens organization that we get to celebrate this accomplishment. But I think we're only, again, scratching the surface. And I think that is going to be one of his, secondary or tertiary awards that we're going to be reflecting on by the end of his career, because I think he's got some very, very, very special things up ahead. I do think too, like, you talked about another point that I'd like to dive into. Talk about a player being too small. Like, we just went through a playoff series against Washington Capitals, and he had some like very big boys between
Oh yeah.
Ovechkin and
Oh
Wilson
yeah.
chasing him, and he held his own.
He
He
did.
got knocked down maybe once or twice, but it was
It's normal.
such a smart player. Like, again, when he fills out and he gets into his fully grown, let's say, man form, man
Yep.
body,
He's gonna get the
you
man
know,
strength. Yep.
yeah, he's gonna be. He's just. I think we're looking at one of the generational talents on defense. Is he going to be Quinn Hughes? Is he going to be Cale Makar? I think Cale Makar is just his own
Yeah.
beast in his.
I
He's in his own
yeah.
category,
Yeah. I
like
think
a
so too.
McDavid on defense. But I can say this much: I do think that he's going to be up there with Quinn Hughes. Just give
A
him
thousand
time to
percent.
continue figuring everything out.
I we look at Lane Hutson now as a Calder Trophy winner. Somewhere down the line, the Norris Trophy nominees are coming for Lane Hutson, and you mentioned Quinn Hughes, who is a Norris Trophy nominee. Same thing with Cale Makar and Zach Werenski. I'm pretty sure Zach Werenski for the Columbus Blue Jackets, well deserved. I want to go back to that documentary of the Canadiens behind the scenes of the draft, the 2022 draft. The Eric Crawford, like you mentioned, it's what he's doing at the USA at the U.S. National Development Program is unheard of. And yes, contending teams have a defenseman like him. But the crazy thing of all is that they were anticipating him to drop to the third round.
Yeah.
I'm sure his height had something to do with it, and I'm sure they got medical report the whole medical reports that like he's going to get a growth spurt at one point, but he's just not there yet. And they were debating like, who do we get at 62? I think this is one of those picks that they saw him, they fall on his lap, and they're like, we cannot deny this kid. And I'm so happy I was there for day 2 of the draft and I got to witness it. It's too bad I didn't take pictures or take any videos. But like I was there and I witnessed it, and I'm super, super, super happy I did. Like that
If
could
only
go,
you knew then. If only you knew
dude.
then what you know now.
Oh my God, I don't like, if we're not even talking outside of hockey, like God knows what success level I'd have like in my personal life outside of hockey. Anyways, my point is that it's one of those picks where they you couldn't deny it's. And imagine this. What if this goes down in history? Demidov falls on their lap, and what if he wins the Calder Trophy next season? I think Habs fans were already anticipating for Demidov to win the Calder Trophy next year. And if that happens back to back, has that ever happened before?
It hasn't. So in NHL history, there's never been an organization that has won back to back. I'm not saying two Rookie
Yeah.
of the Year or
Mm-hmm.
2 awards as such, but back to back years, it's never occurred. I already think. I mean, I don't want to just take it for granted, but I do think that Demidov is easily up there in the
Mm-hmm.
running
Yeah.
for a finalist position. Like, when you're say forecasted to be at least one of the 3 finalists. And I
I
think
hope
what this
so,
does
man.
for the Montreal Canadiens organization is it legitimizes the fact that we have a very strong nucleus of players in Suzuki, Caulfield. I'm gonna start using the name Gooley more and more.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That kid is gonna be a big factor. But we have a very strong nucleus of young veteran players. We have some outstanding talent with with the young kids. These 2
Mm-hmm.
young guys, and I think it instantaneously makes Montreal one of the hottest markets that teams are going to want to come play for. You add that to the Bell Center crowd, which we absolutely, even in the Stanley Cup
Oh yeah.
Finals, we blew away any other NHL organization, including the Winnipeg Jets, including including Edmonton,
I'm
even
including
including
Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Edmonton environment is fantastic for these
Yeah,
Stanley Cup Finals,
they're
but
fantastic, and that's fans. Please hear me. We
giving
just have the
giving
advantage of
them
21,200. It used to be 273.
yeah.
21,200 people that are allowed into the Bell Center. We
hmm
just have the sheer number of people to make more noise.
I'm just saying, like we'll briefly end with Stanley Cup Finals talk later on, but I've been watching those games and I'm like, if this was the Montreal Canadiens in the finals, pretty sure the Bell Center would be louder. But anyways, going back to Lane Hutson, you mentioned something that completely stuck with me, and I'm sure everyone saw the video of how his parents surprised him with the trophy, and I kind of like
Yeah.
that the NHL has been doing that in a sense that they're surprising the winners by
Did-
like the Sean Monahan one getting the Lady
Yeah.
Bing, like Johnny Gaudreau's wife, like that was super emotional,
Was
but I thought it was
Masterton or Bing?
sorry, the Bill
Masterton.
Master, sorry, not Lady
Yeah.
Bing, excuse me, Bill Masterton award. Yeah, you're right. Johnny Gaudreau's wife presenting it and like emotional, but I thought like they're doing that slowly, and I think that's cool. I personally think it is, but the way his family presented the trophy and how they kind of tricked him, they thought he was going to like a little surprise thing or charity thing to congratulate him for being a finalist. So, and you see his brothers like hugging him, his whole family, like. And then the what's the NHL, the Stanley Cup trophy guy, he was there too to present it, who I met also at the draft in 2022. Great guy. It was awesome. And two things about Lane Hutson is he's so humble. He's thanking God every day he's a Montreal Canadiens and he gets to play in this market and have the teammates that he has. But the most important thing is he's such a student of the game. It's insane. And like you mentioned, he's focusing on his strength. Like this kid just wants to get on the ice and play and practice and whatnot. And just to name a few, like I named Wayne Gretzky, who was
Sidney Crosby.
Wayne
Sidney
Gretzky,
Crosby is
Sidney
the modern,
Crosby.
yeah.
But Wayne Gretzky, like he mentioned so many times, I just love the game. I love getting out there and not just so much practice, but just doing what I love. Sidney Crosby, 1,000%. And we're not here saying that Lane Hutson is going to be the Sidney Crosby or the Wayne Gretzkys of our generation amongst defensemen with the Montreal Canadiens. But my point is that when you have someone who loves what they're doing and is a student of the game, a student of their craft, they're going to have success. And this is why I'm saying Lane Hutson's just scratching the surface here because he still has so much to learn and he will get there. And there's so much coming that we have yet to see. And I'm going to throw an Ivan Demidov in there too. You know what I mean? Like you don't think just look at how he's appreciated. Look at practically all his teammates on Instagram, just tagging him, congratulating. And when you have your captain that puts the yawning emojis, it's like, yeah, shocker. Like he knew, Nick Suzuki knew, like, and
Cole Caulfield saying, "I can't believe I wasn't invited."
Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. But you know what I mean? But like that just goes to show what kind of bond this team has, and
so tight knit.
They're so tight knit, and you don't think that's not going to motivate each other and push each other to fucking win, to try to win the cup? Like, who knows how long it's going to take? We're not here to debate that. But just that alone, like guys that are willing to go to war for each other, that's what you need. And that's going to motivate Lane Hutson to get better as well. Not for him. It's not going to be for him. It's going to be for his teammates and for this crest right here.
I couldn't agree more. I think there was something along the lines, you're saying student of the game, but did you hear, like, I know you heard, this is a rhetorical question. So for the fans who are listening, did you hear Lane Hutson criticizing himself after they were losing, when they were losing games in the playoffs? Apparently he was like overwhelmingly harsh against himself, and that's somebody, to me, this is the way that it translates. An individual who's going to go back, reflect, and evaluate their, I don't want to say wrongdoings, but their points of error, or their errors, simply put. Those are the people who are going to get better a lot quicker. If you think, hey, I'm hot shit, I'm the best, and I don't have to do anything, I don't have to do any work, I'm sorry to say that's where you peak, and you peak very quickly. When you are going back and like I so love that story of Sidney Crosby up in Mont Tremblant, dropping a boot down on the ice and practicing his breakout skating from behind the net on one side specifically,
Yep.
because after 10 plus years in the NHL, it wasn't sufficient and he still wanted to work on that. Like, that is what gets you to the top. That is what gets you to be an absolute winner in
Mm-hmm.
anything that you do. And I hope that he's not too harsh on himself. I hope that he has people to say, hey, man, like, not don't beat you
Chill,
down.
kid. Yeah.
We can fix this. We can fix this. You understand your mistake? Yes. Do you know how we're gonna avoid repeating it? Yes. That is where this
But
kid, and I think Demidov as well, falls in the same basket. I'm going to go a step
you
further
know
and
who
say,
else?
I hold up, hold up, hold up.
You're probably
I
gonna
was
say
going
his
to say,
name.
no, I might not, but I was just about to say, I Demidov is a freak of nature. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I'm sorry to say I'm putting him in his own category as to his just natural talent and vision. And I think there's just certain things that this kid was God-given gifts that he was given that allow him to be the player that he is. But nevertheless, he is just another individual who works at it and they're obsessive over getting better. And that's why I think these guys, it's a very short question of time before they are going to overshadow Suzuki and Caulfield. And it's no disrespect
No,
towards
but
these guys. I think
it's a good thing if they do.
that's it. They're very I'm not questioning the dedication of our captain. I'm not questioning the dedication of Cole
No,
and
not even close.
any
No.
other player. I think that, oh my god, this is so mean to say, but I look at Lane Hutson and it's like you're looking at when you say the expression a duck on water.
Mm-hmm.
If Lane is the duck, what's his water? It's the sheet of ice. I'm not saying that he's socially awkward or incapable. I just think he's at home and feels his
Mm-hmm.
best on the ice. And I don't think the bright lights of Montreal, the beautiful women walking around the city, are
No, I don't
what
think
gets him.
so.
I think he's just like,
No,
fuck,
he won't.
I just
He
want to
won't get
win.
distracted. But it's the common trend amongst the guys that the Canadians draft. You know who else does that? Uri Slavkovsky. He puts a lot of
Yeah,
pressure on himself too. And you know what I mean? Like we probably don't see. I know people freaked out. They saw Demidov practicing recently, and they're like, "Where's Slavkovsky? Where's?" It's like, people chill out. Like, just because there's no video of him practicing doesn't mean he's not practicing. Demidov decided to stay here. Uri Slavkovsky decided to go home. Like, his family's in Slovakia. Give the kid a break. But my point is that it's that mindset. It's that mindset of having to be better all the time. You want that on your team.
yeah.
You 1000% do. So it's like
That's why while
Mhm.
Marner and Nylander and Matthews were filming all these bullshit commercials that we had to watch over and over in the playoffs, these guys are out on the ice. These
well,
guys are out on the ice
well,
working on their game, working at getting better.
Lane Hudson's gonna get commercial offers. He's gonna get
They're gonna
commercial
have
offers
the
from
McDonald's commercials that, like,
here in Quebec.
all of our guys do, but and
Exactly.
like the sheriff burger at what was it, Belle et la Boeuf with Jack.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, that's
yeah.
a whole different story in itself. But all that to say is, yeah, there are going to be commercial opportunities, and it's their obligation for their financial well being to see those through. But
hmm
you know, how many commercials? If you take the three guys that I named off from Toronto, they're in a multitude of commercials
Yeah.
individually. Like, they don't just do one, they do multiple. And I think, this again, yeah, Connor McDavid's doing commercials all the time, but I don't know, maybe it's just the Leafs.
Yeah, it's
Just
just
drop it.
you took your one opportunity to trash the Leafs, but
Yeah, it's it.
I
That's
mean,
it.
just to recap, Lane Hutson, 66 points in 82 games, 6 goals, 60 assists. Macklin Celebrini with 63 and 70 in 70 games, 25 goals, tied with Matvei Michkov at 63 points as well. Just Celebrini has more points per game. Here are the stats that really got me like freaking out. Like, in Montreal Canadiens history, he's tied for third overall in most points by a rookie. 68 points. In with He's tied with the in most points in most points as a rookie.
Season. Yeah.
68 points. Tied with Bernie Geoffrion, third. And then 71, Mats Naslund and Kajel Dalin. I can't pronounce his name properly. I apologize. But within that, Lane Hutson got what most record assists amongst the rookie defensemen, 62 assists in the season, beating Chris Chelios.
I think he had most points as a rookie defenseman.
Yeah,
That's the
we're
thing.
talking about
All the other guys.
we're talking
Yeah,
about defensemen here, but he's also ranked. He's also tied at third for the history of the NHL. Rookie defenseman, 68 points, like I said, tied with Gary Suter, Larry Murphy at 76, and then Brian Leach at 85. Like, he's up there with Hall of Famers. Like, he beat Phil Housley, he beat Ray Bourque, he beat Nick Lidstrom. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be those next defensemen, but my God, this has to count for something.
Oh, it does.
Right? And also, and to add, the most assists, 62. He beats Brian Leach at 60 points. Larry Murphy at 60 points.
Let's go a step further. Like, what was I saying earlier on in the episode? I was saying that, Cale Makar is in a league of his own. I was saying that he, Lane Hutson can aspire to be much like Hughes in Vancouver. And these guys came into the league recently. Did these spectacular players break these records? I'm not saying that just because he broke the record that he's automatically going to be better than these guys. That's not what I'm inferring whatsoever. But the fact that he did it on a team that is, advancing in their rebuild, who was not even a playoff team last year, and then does this, it speaks volumes. Like, Cale Makar, say what you will, he still came onto a team with Gabe Landeskog and Nathan McKinnon.
Mikko Rantanen too.
Then you take Vancouver, even Quinn Hughes, when he came into the league, he wasn't surrounded by bad players. He had Pettersson, who was really dominant at that point in time. It's when you say it's got to count for something. Well, hell yes, it counts for something, because these guys who are leading the current NHL game and are the best of the best and stand apart by a long shot. Lane Hutson did that on a rebuilding team in his first year. So absolutely, it's insane.
Insane. So I took the liberty to go on moneypuck.com just to look at kind of those advanced stats a little bit. He's third in the league with secondary assists. Jack Eichel and Evan Bouchard are tied with 39. And Lane Hutson's at 35. Nathan McKinnon at 31. Nikita Kucherov at 28. I don't care. Say what you want about secondary assists. They count. They count. There's a good. It's probably the reason why he's there is because he's probably started a play. I don't care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because if you go through any social media comments, I don't know why they always say secondary assist merchant, secondary assist merchant. Fuck off, because pardon me for swearing, but seriously, if you actually watch the Montreal Canadiens, half the time he was the guy who was leading the charge, bringing the puck in and opening up that space that eventually leads to the goal. Had he not made a specific play, pivoted with the puck and done something absolutely special to open up the game and the play itself again, the goals wouldn't be going in. So you can call him whatever you want. You could say that he's unworthy and that secondary assists don't count for anything. But go back and actually watch the games. For anybody who's not a fan of the Montreal Canadiens, say what you will. But seriously, this guy completely revolutionized the whole style of play that we were able to have here.
Here's a stat that people might freak out about. In takeaways, he's third in the league amongst everyone. Third at 56.
But apparently he's bad.
But apparently he's bad.
Right?
He's tied with Mitch Marner, and he's got one more takeaway than Evan Bouchard, a Stanley Cup finalist again. He's got many more up against Zach Werenski. I'm just saying he's only 4 behind Cale Makar, the best defenseman of our generation, and what we're seeing right now. You know what I mean? Hey, and you know what? You know who's not too far behind him? Mike Matheson. I'm just going to throw that in there with 43. Mike Matheson's in the top 15. Don't worry, Mike Matheson's if I look at the giveaways column real quick, actually Lane Hutson has a bit more Lane Hutson has 2 or 3 more giveaways than 109, Mike Matheson 107. So it's okay. Just all I'm saying is Cale Makar has more giveaways. Victor Hedman has more giveaways. Zach Werenski has more giveaways. Evan
The more you play,
Bouchard.
the more you're gonna screw up too.
There you go. Well, that's the story of
That's
Mike
Mike Matheson,
Matheson.
and exactly.
But man, this is so awesome. This is so awesome. And I can't wait to see what's coming up ahead. But what we do know what's coming up ahead is Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
What a game last night. What a
Has
game.
this not been an insane Stanley Cup final since the start? Like,
it's been fantastic.
Game 1 and Game 2 were insane, man.
Between that McJesus pass of a lifetime,
disgusting.
The best defensive forward or two-way forward. I don't want to call him a defensive forward. Best
Selke Trophy winner.
Selke Trophy winner, perennial Selke Trophy winner in Barkov, and all this to say, just spectacular moves. You talk about the rough stuff that's been happening. Say what you will, it's still entertaining. Sam Bennett, if you already haven't been convinced that Kent Hughes absolutely has to throw an offer at the very least his way, then I don't know what hockey you're watching.
He's gonna have to overpay, but there's news circulating that like he's going to ask for a pay increase, but not too much to the point where it's going to screw the Florida Panthers over. Like, he wants to stay in Florida, and I think he's willing to take. He's going to get a pay increase, but at a discount of what people are projecting that he probably will get if teams were to offer him something.
This, before we go on the trail, like, we want to stay on the Stanley Cup final discussion, but like, there are rumblings, and I'd have to see financially how that would all play out, but that a guy like Mitch Marner could be a target for the Florida Panthers. They would have to clear out some contracts for sure. But again, if you have the base of Barkov, you have Tkachuk, you have Sam Bennett coming back, you have Reinhart, and then you possibly even introduce a guy like Marner, even if it's at the expense of other very good support players. It's just because that top six would be so well built to compete. And I think there's reason, like what you're describing, I think there's reason to take a pay cut. Even if they don't bring on a guy like Mitch Marner, who cares? They just have everything that it takes to be very dominant for at least the next 2 to 3 years. I think they could pull Colorado Avalanche. They could pull definitely a Tampa Bay Lightning type of move and go back to back Stanley Cups.
If they do, man, that's they're obviously going to be known as a dynasty. But this is why I sort of think maybe the Canadiens should try to make a push for Anton Lundell at center. 23 years old, only a $5 million cap hit. I'm just saying, like, if Kent Hughes is willing to take him off their hands, you still get a good centerman, and then Florida is able to sign Bennett and Aaron Ekblad probably the way they would love to. So, you know what? We've been fortunate to watch this kind of Stanley Cup Finals. Like, I really thought Game 2, Edmonton was going to take and run with it with the momentum they had in the first period. But this Florida Panthers team, man, they can't be phased at the moment. At the moment, they're up 2-1 in the series. At the moment, man, like, I think you could tell the difference in mentality of the two different of the teams. I think you have Edmonton they're hungry for it, especially after last season losing it. But I also think they're a bit on edge because they're trying to do everything they can to not lose. And it worked in Game 1. It didn't work in Game 2. Definitely didn't work in Game 3. Like, that was just awful outing from them. And compare them to the Florida Panthers. Like, you keep hearing interview after interview saying, we're having fun. We're laughing in the room. We're giggling. Like it's such a, there's like this, don't worry about this, guys. We got this vibe in the Florida Panthers dressing room, especially with Paul Maurice as their coach. Like, it's not over. God knows what could happen in Game 4 Thursday night. But geez Louise, man, if Florida wins Game 4 at home, I'm not saying they're going to win Game 5 in Edmonton, but it's going to be another steep hill for Edmonton to climb. And the big question is, are they able to do that again? Mind you, they were down 3-0 in the series last year. At least if this happens, they'll be down 3-1. They'll have at least a game won. But still, to be able to win 3 straight against the Florida Panthers, they did it last year again. But, oh, man, I don't know. They're a much better team. And I'm going to go on a limb and say this. if Florida wins and Brad Marchand keeps playing the way he's playing, that rat, he's going to win the Conn Smythe. I'm calling it.
Oh, yeah?
I
Okay.
really think so.
Okay.
I think if he keeps scoring goals, at least one goal a game from now till, let's say, the day or the night he hoists the cup, he's winning the Conn Smythe. I'm calling it.
Not Bennett from their side?
I love Sam Bennett. I would love for him to win it, even though he's public enemy number one. It's either you really love Sam Bennett or you really hate him. I think he's good. I think he could be the runner-up. I think there's just something about Brad Marchand, like being the brand new guy on the team at the deadline, and just what he did against Toronto, what he's doing against he played well against Carolina, what he's doing now against Edmonton. It's kind of hard to ignore. I'd say Sam Bennett is close behind, but I'm giving it to Brad Marchand on this one.
I think that's very fair. I don't think that's illogical or out of the question. I think also too, it's a question. I'm sorry to say it like this. It's Skinner is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
He's so unpredictable. I mean, even the first goal that was scored it was yesterday's game where he dove out.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
know.
wide
Yeah.
open net. What are you doing? And
Yeah.
that's one, like, you get great games from him, and then you get these horrible games from him as well. And the other thing that comes to mind, and I think that's very important, is there have been games where McDavid, doesn't matter who you are,
Yeah.
what you do,
You ain't stopping him.
he's just unstoppable. And I would say that the games right now, you talk about Florida as a team. Florida is a team, but this is all going to come down to whether or not McDavid could find a way. And I know that we've talked about wanting the Montreal Canadiens to bring the cup back to Canada, but this is the exact reason why I want Edmonton to win,
Yeah.
because a guy locks himself into history. Not that he already isn't locked into history with what he's done and everything. It's just that you want to see that. That's what differentiates you from the best of the best in all of history. And I think if he steps up and he finds a way to get past Florida, which is borderline unbeatable, it's Connor McDavid versus Goliath. And Connor McDavid versus Goliath, not to get biblical on us, but if he gets through,
I like that.
holy shit, like, that goes
Speaking
down
of
in history
biblical.
books. Yeah.
So and it's funny because we mentioned that last episode with Anthony, and you 1000% want to see the best win, and that includes Connor McDavid. It includes Leon Draisaitl as well. And it's crazy to think that 2 nights ago, or June 9th, was the 32nd anniversary of the Montreal Canadiens winning the Stanley Cup. The last time the Stanley Cup was won on Canadian soil. So I think since the start of this Stanley Cup Finals, I've been emotionally ready to see the Cup come back to Canada. And after the year that Canada had, like on a political term as well, especially with our neighbors down south, like and Canada winning the Four Nations Cup, like this would be the cherry on top with that little bit of like in your face type of deal. But man, this Florida Panthers team, if they keep rolling this way, if Bobrovsky keeps playing the way he's playing, like the whole team, it's the whole team. They're such a unit, this team, and I love the Edmonton Oilers the way they're built as well. But right now, like if it's and it kind of shows Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a bit injured, because he at one point he was practically taking charge more than McDavid and Draisaitl were. And McDavid and Draisaitl, you know what you're going to get from them. Most of their best players, you know what you're going to get from them, but it's the depth. Like if Evander Kane's not playing well, and I'm not saying he isn't, but if Evander Kane doesn't show up, if Kapanen doesn't show up, Corey Perry, he's got to keep doing what he's doing, man. Like scoring with 18 seconds remaining, like that was insane. That was an insane ending to that period. Too bad they didn't win in overtime, but it's the depth players that have to perform, and that's where Florida has the edge, man.
I think Florida, you got to give it to them. They got all of the Edmonton Oilers support players off
Yeah.
of their game yesterday.
Oh,
They
AJ
knocked
Greer. AJ
oh
Greer. That's he had a blast. He had a field day.
yeah, like they were so pissed off, so riled
Yep.
up. You have
Yep.
Evander Kane talking after the game about
Hmm.
they do the same things as we do, but we're getting more people. Like
Yeah. They're
Florida's
in
in
their
their
heads right now.
room.
They're
Florida's
in
in
there
their room going like,
laughing.
"You idiots!" Like, well, we'll see you next game. We're
Well,
gonna more the same. You guys are
however,
gonna get
yeah.
bothered by that.
However, McDavid and Draisaitl had that look, that blank stare look, sitting
Yeah.
next to each other.
So,
It's like, Florida, you better be ready for Game 4. That's all I'm gonna say. I want to end this episode on one big, bold statement. I watched Sam Bennett play. A lot of us do. I'm going to make a link here to a Montreal Canadiens prospect. Okay, might blow people's minds and think I'm crazy, but I don't care. I want to stir the pot here a little bit. I look at Sam Bennett. I've watched Laval Rocket playoffs.
Say it.
Unfortunately they lost to a much experienced team. We're going to talk about that in future episodes. But in those games, I've watched Owen Beck play. If Owen Beck can study and kind of play more or less the same way as Sam Bennett, watch out. I'm not saying Owen Beck is the next Sam Bennett, but he could be our version of Sam Bennett. And I get it. There's a big difference between a 4th overall pick and a 33rd overall pick. I completely get it. Sam Bennett, 6'1", Owen Beck, 6 foot. But Owen Beck has a bit more weight on him. It's like maybe a couple of pounds more, like 5-6 pounds more. When Owen Beck wants to hit, he can hit, man. For some reason, I don't know why, folks. I look at Sam Bennett and I'm automatically thinking like Owen Beck needs to study this guy and kind of implement his game that way. And if he does, the Montreal Canadiens might be a much more dangerous team than we think. There's still tons of work that Owen Beck needs to do. He probably won't even make the Canadiens next season, all depending on training camp, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know why, folks. There's some reason I feel like Owen Beck could do something to replicate the game of Sam Bennett.
So on that note, because we had this discussion in part earlier, which lined us up for some of the content that we're discussing, and when that text came through and it was Owen Beck could become, I was just like, what are you? You know what? Fuck that. Yeah, I was like, I was at the playoff. He landed some of the biggest hits,
dude,
on the Laval Rocket side. He is solid.
Yeah,
He is very solid. He skates
is.
in a very similar style. Like, he's a good skater, not the fastest, but still a very powerful skater. He's got good vision for the physical game when it's a good time to hit. When when it's an opportune time to hit, maybe a guy. I'm not saying a dirty hit like guy has a head down, but like, okay, boards there, calculate the angle,
if you're at the
crush.
boards, he's coming after you.
That's it. So I do agree. Like, again, I wanted to at first when I was like, what the no, you know what? Yeah, this does make a lot of sense, and it's not a carbon copy, but I think there could be a lot of facets of his game that are replicated. So yeah, I'll give you that, and I'm curious to see if other fans of ours feel the same way upon further evaluation.
We're gonna end it on this, but that Sam Bennett shift lays a hit, lays another hit, and then I forgot who it was that initially had the puck, but then Sam Bennett just like, nope, fucking turbocharged, and he's like, well, here, take it. You're faster than me, take it, and he just undressed Skinner. Like,
I don't
crazy.
want to end the episode on a sour note, but the last time that there was a shift that I remember like that in the playoffs was, remember when Mike Richards just absolutely murdered Marc-Andre Bergeron, then took it down the ice. I don't know if it was Hammerlick who was on the ice or if it was Spacek. am I confusing? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was one of those two
Could be.
guys
Oh,
came in
yeah, yeah.
smashing into
Oh,
Halak,
yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah,
just
yeah,
buried. So
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a
Yes, I remember that.
brutally
Yeah.
physical shift. Great defensive play by him. Then he goes down the ice. He has the Montreal Canadiens player smashing into Halak, takes the puck, buries it into an open net. It
Oh,
was
I
it was
remember
known as,
that. That
if
was
you go to
hurtful.
YouTube and you search up the
The
shift,
shift.
Mike
Yeah.
Richards, you'll unfortunately have to feel that pain. But I think that was the closest.
Mm-hmm.
That was the closest shift I've seen in playoff hockey to that. He just took over physically. He just manhandled the whole
Yeah.
freaking roster of the Edmonton Oilers.
Well,
that
that's
shift.
why they ended up going to the Stanley Cup Finals, the Philadelphia Flyers of that time in 2010. So it's okay. We'll end it on that. But Lane Hutson, Calder Trophy winner. Congratulations to Lane Hutson and his entire family and friends. Great honor, and we already. I can't wait for the season to start. So we're gonna end it on that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for watching us on YouTube. Again, please like and subscribe. Absolutely free. Share this with your friends. It's our way to feeling the love. Thank you so much for listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Once again, give us an honest rating and review. It'll only make us better from here. A big thank you to our sponsors, Habs Cave and Mike's Barbecue Rub. Give them a follow and a shout on Instagram. The Curfew Boys. You can also follow us on other social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, also known as X, and TikTok. Chris, you're off to a soccer game right now. Enjoy. Drink either water or some other drink.
One liter gone.
There you go. Have fun. Enjoy. Don't get hurt. Don't slide tackle too much. You know, give a nice Sam Bennett hit out there in the middle of the open field and see what happens.
I always say it, and I'm gonna continue laughing about it. At 6'3" and like 225 pounds, I was not built to be a soccer player, but goddamn, I got good at that sport, and then fall in love with hockey. Like I am completely like I don't know. I look like a bulldozer among race cars on.
I have to come watch your games. I actually do. Unfortunately, I couldn't tonight, but I will one night. Anyways,
sleeping fear forwards on the other team. I used to be a forward. Now I'm the bulldozer in the back on the back.
I'm gonna come in. I'll heckle the other team. But anyways.
Oh god.
All right, man. Have a good night. Enjoy. Thank you once again, everyone. Don't forget Game 4 Thursday night in Florida. We'll see what happens then. Until then.
Bye now.
Bye now. Good night.